サタンしろ
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 211 of the Saturn Studs podcast. My dulcet tones have returned this week. I have fixed my D drive, and we are back in action here. I am joined once again this week by my co-hosts, Peter and Jake.
Coming at you with the crusty busker edition of the cast. And by fixed his D drive, we mean Kurt he finished his adventure within Jake.
Yep.
And he is at perfect health now.
Shortly after the podcast, I raced into the bathroom and we attached the extraction device, and just in time, his shrinkable device got out of my body, expanded, destroyed my bathroom, but it's okay. He had defeated the coronavirus. He's a hero. Kurt, my family couldn't thank you more.
I'll credit. I'll take the credit for defeating the coronavirus. Sure.
You, your girlfriend, and your two bunnies were a crack team, and you kept your head on a swivel.
I could just see my bunnies, like, in terms of helping with anything, just staring. And, like, if you ask them to, like, hold anything, them just walking away from you.
But they ended up doing the one thing at the end of the movie to that
Turns out the tumor looked like a carrot.
that redirected the power because they chewed through the cord or some shit.
The MacGuffin.
They brought the MacGuffin or something.
I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about anymore.
This just in. Kurt didn't watch last week's cast.
I did not, sadly. And from the numbers, I was not alone in that.
Well, everybody missed out. They're gonna have to go back.
I guess the good news is that I have a lot of negotiating power with myself when I go to negotiate my contract for renewal. Apparently, I am something of a ratings draw on the show.
Fuck. You're a third of our power. Which Triforce are we?
I would guess that I'm wisdom.
Jake's courage, because goddamn, he's bold enough to say a lot of shit on the stream.
No,
It's true.
Does that make me power? Wait,
you are.
makes me power.
Yeah. You got that power. You got that iron stomach and tenacity.
I'll never yeah, iron stomach.
Yes, the drinks you fucking mix should not be consumed by mere mortals.
Speaking of, before we say what movie
Before we talk about it
this week, before we talk about it, my brain imagined a great drink that my body needs to try later. It's even parts Pinnacle Whipped, Kahlua, creme de cacao, and rum chata, and it's going to be the fucking sweetest dessert drink that anyone's ever tasted.
Yeah, it's like a Starbucks mocha coca frappe latte.
So if a White Russian is milk, Kahlua, and vodka, what you've just described is the Vladimir Putin. It's a super White Russian.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Before we get into Trey Watch, we actually have a promo to read for a podcast called A Day in the Life. I almost said A Day in a Life. A Day in the Life. It's a podcast about living life during the coronavirus. They have fun topics that you can send in to them, and they do comedy skits. So go check out A Day in the Life on Spotify, Radio Public, or Google Podcasts. And there's a website that goes along with that that I will link in the description. It's very much not something that I can read off and like you can punch in very easily. So check out the link in the description for that. With that taken care of, let's move on to Trey Watch, and we have a thriller on the show this
whatever it is,
and with Unhinged. My main takeaway from this trailer is, wow, Russell Crowe got really fucking fat.
Yeah, I was like, is that discount Russell Crowe? Oh no, Russell Crowe, what happened?
When I saw the thumbnail, I thought it was Gerard Butler at first, and then I clicked on it. It's like, no, Russell Crowe is really fat. He plays a, I guess, unhinged man who all he wanted was an apology from a Karen, and he doesn't get it, so he goes on a murderous rampage to destroy her life. You know, things you do.
For a second, I was like, yeah, I'd be there. And then murderous rampage was like, oh, well, yeah, it's usually not the way to handle things.
Yep.
But like,
I found a poster for this movie.
Oh, did you?
And I think it tells me everything I need to know about this movie. I didn't see the trailer, but I'm going to assume that this will fully inform me. This and the tidbits about Russell Crowe. It's a scantily clad woman holding a bloody cleaver or a bloody pair of gardening scissors. They all wanted a piece of her. Some took too much.
I believe this is a different movie.
Okay.
That's it. Yep. That's exactly what we described.
I am 99% sure.
They need to make it
unless it takes a really wild turn in the second act.
Who knows? Russell Crowe in his greatest method acting role yet.
But yeah, Russell Crowe, like, he just, I was with him for the first part, but then he, like, killed some dude at a gas station and then killed her husband at a coffee shop. And then, like, they put a lot of that in the trailer, which seems like kind of wrong. But yeah, that child's fucked now. Her kid is fucked. If it makes it through the movie, it's going to have psychological scars that will never heal.
Unless he kills the kid.
Yeah, that's what I said. If he makes it through the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, I hope this movie takes that step and is like, you know what? We're killing kids.
Oh, here we go. Here's an actual poster for this movie.
Okay.
Russell Crowe's not scantily clad in this one.
Yes. He
can happen to anyone.
So, and he keeps saying, "I need you to know what a bad day is." So basically, the screenwriter of this got high and watched not Maximum Overdrive. I don't even know what movie, Mad Max and The Killing Joke back to back, and was like, "I have an idea. Get me Russell Crowe on the phone." What? He's gained 100 pounds? Doesn't matter. Put him in the movie.
You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if it's like the city aspect of it. It's not really actually closely related at all. It just makes me want to watch Phone Booth. I think it's all Phone Booth.
I feel like I know the name, but I don't.
Is that what it's called? It's the one where the some guy or lady gets a call from a phone booth and they pick it up, and the guy's like, I got a sniper trained on you. Stay on the phone with me, or you're gonna die.
That's an interesting. That
is
a big premise. It's a premise I would tell to a celebrity at a party to try and get weasel my way into Hollywood.
They played on FX so many times. Oh yeah, Phone Booth. 2 words. 2002 thriller, psychological thriller.
What was the plot twist? There was no sniper.
There was a plot twist. I'm not going to give it away. But it was a pretty good plot twist. Because everybody was like, show me the gun in the phone booth. Like, they thought the guy in the phone booth was the one killing people. And then once people around the phone booth started dying, they're like, hey, you on the phone, where's your gun? And he's like, I don't have a gun. And then above him, there's a gun.
Wowzers.
Wow. Yowie wowie.
Wow.
That's my 5-second review of Phone Booth that I saw 10 years ago.
But does he get his change back at the end?
I can't disclose that. I can neither confirm nor deny that.
That's
Okay.
what inquiring minds want to know.
You'll have to watch the movie.
I don't feel like I want to spend 90 minutes.
Movie. Or spend 2 hours and watch it on FX as they play it with 20 commercials.
Oh boy.
No, after my experience watching Die Hard 3 on television, I have no desire to ever watch a movie on television.
I would
ever
never
again.
watch a movie on TV. Too many commercials.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, we were watching Die Hard 3 for 7 hours.
We did. I think that movie ended at 11. We started before dinner.
I see that. They throw so many commercials into bullshit now. It's just we just got back.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad. They're on a death spiral. TV's not a death spiral, kids. Speaking of death spirals, I don't want to review this trailer for End of Sentence. It's really boring. It's for me. It's probably a fine drama film. I'm sure it's probably okay. I don't give a fuck. It's it's a father and son going to spread their mother's ashes at the lake, and they're going through a personal journey on a road trip together. They learn a little bit about each other on the way, and he learns to be a better son.
I think it's
and
important.
at the end, they go to the lake.
I feel it's important to mention that the reason it's called End of Sentence is because the son is being released from prison.
That is true. That is a part of
It
it.
feels like an important detail.
No. I was hoping
end,
people would
no.
understand that there was something a period had something to do with something, because that's
Could
always
you
at the end of a
imagine?
sentence.
Could you imagine the next level titling of taking a movie about menstruation and calling it End of Sentence?
Oh my gosh. 2 degrees.
I'd be so mad and impressed if they could make
I
it
know,
work.
right? I hated myself for thinking of it, but then I applauded my creativity.
And if wasn't in a period.
There you go.
Seth Rogen's an American
so
pickle.
instead, yes. So every streaming service needs its flagship film, its flagship property to really get it off the ground here.
If you say so.
HBO Max is a new one on the scene because apparently an on-demand service is already not enough. You gotta upgrade that to streaming on demand. So what have they got to put in the papers to be go buy HBO Max for our own original
Let me
property?
guess.
That's right. It's Seth Rogen's American Pickle.
I was gonna guess old-timey Seth Rogen.
I mean, does HBO Max, I think, also has the entire Warner Media catalog?
It does. So, but everyone needs their own original property. You're not a streaming service if you don't have your own original property.
But I'm pretty sure they have no, that's Peacock. Never mind. That has Friends.
the fuck is Peacock?
That's NBC's streaming service.
Oh God.
There's a free tier, and then you can go on for only $11.99 a month, limited time offer for 12 months.
This is gonna be.
I want a package of streaming services, some sort of bundle.
There is a site that does that for you.
Fucking Christ.
I think this is gonna be a good show movie. What is it? Show?
It's gonna.
sounds
Be,
like
I
a
think
show.
it should be a movie. Maybe it'll be a 4-part series.
So the
I don't know.
description is: an immigrant worker at a pickle factory is accidentally preserved for 100 years and wakes up in modern-day Brooklyn.
Okay, HBO Max is all over the goddamn place. Let me read to you some of these fucking groupings they have here. So, culture-defining TV, Rick and Morty, Friends, Doctor Who, Adventure Time, The Big Bang Theory, Pretty Little Liars, Batwoman. They put
Nice.
Batwoman as a culture-defining television show.
Yeah, she's
regardless of what you feel about its quality, which you can check out our YouTube channel.
Which is not
to
what
see
we are.
Diane and myself appraise the quality of an episode. It's had one fucking season. How is it culture defining?
Because she...
Tiger King is more culture defining than Batwoman.
Because she woman.
Fresh Prince and Anthony Bourdain parts unknown. And then
he's
blockbuster
dead.
movies and classic favorites. Remember, blockbuster movies, classic favorites. Casablanca, okay. Lord of the Rings, sure. Detective Pikachu.
Oh!
Spirited Away,
Okay. That's fine.
that's classic favorite,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Matrix, Wonder Woman.
Oh.
A little, all right, that's a blockbuster. I'll give you that. When Harry Met Sally, The Conjuring 2, and Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, so
Well, I don't know. Maybe
devil's
I
advocate
might-
for Crazy Rich Asian. I'm not Asian, but I did hear from the Asian community
That made a lot of money.
that it was really spicy in the Asian community. That was their kimchi. They were all about it.
fucking-
I mean, it was
went
it was a
But
as
just
a
for
movie.
Asians.
As a movie, it wasn't much. But
No. Even the Asians said, they're like, yeah, it's not that great of a movie, but like they got really good Asian actors to star in it. So, like, it was an all Asian casted movie.
larger than life
Asian director.
characters. Here's
Oh.
the three that they pick. Looney Tunes, but not Looney Tunes like just in general. Specifically, Looney Tunes Back in Action, the 2004 movie starring Brendan Fraser and Bill Goldberg. Sesame Street, sure. My Neighbor Totoro. That's a motley mix there.
Something for everybody.
These don't feel that's. It doesn't feel like what the words "larger than life" means. I don't think that's what you know. When I think of larger than life, I think of like Scott, like almost like Scott Pilgrim, or like Space. I feel like Space Jam more than like fucking.
Well, the Looney
Back
Tunes,
in
sure,
Action.
they're larger than life characters. Sesame Street and the Muppets, yeah, sure, I can give you that. My Neighbor Totoro seems a little more niche.
I just don't think I like the phrase larger than life. It doesn't fucking make sense.
Makes me feel small and intimidated.
Okay, I think we need to
It's
get.
like if you mean animated, say animated.
Oh, Doom Patrol's coming to HBO Max? What?
Oh boy.
Oh, I
That'd
also found out that Harley Quinn TV show is on Sci-Fi now. Also,
Oh, nifty. Like just on TV.
yeah, because I was on YouTube TV and it had it there, and I'm like, wait a minute, I swear to God, I opened the YouTube TV app.
That might be good for the like the producers of Harley Quinn. Maybe they're selling it to other properties, or they're allowed to sell it to other properties.
Well, yeah, they need money because they're not making a lot of money off of DC Universe, unfortunately.
It's a shame.
I think it's a good value,
Yeah.
but I think we need to get HBO Max specifically for the Not Too Late show with Elmo.
Oh, Elmo has his own talk show now.
Yes,
That's fucking
the
great.
Not Too Late show with Elmo.
I would love to see a Elmo like opening monologue that includes him impersonating Trump and just bullshit with like politics.
Starring Elmo as your host, Cookie Monster as your co-host. I think he's going to be the real star of the show. And Rosita, the stage manager. If you don't know who Rosita is, then you probably stopped watching Sesame Street in 2002.
Whose hand's gonna be up her ass?
Well,
Nice.
Do you get it? That's pretty good because like they're all puppets.
yeah.
Is it? Oh, I was gonna say she's just committing a conflict of interest and is going to be in trouble with the HR department in a few weeks.
It's actually Big Bird.
Big Bird is a
Big Bird and
full-body
Rose-
Big
suit.
Bird has
Big Bird and Rosita were
Big
doing
Bird has supple little hands.
supple little hands. They were canoodling behind stage. You know, one thing leads to another. I got some weird eggs.
A sentence.
I'm glad this is the direction we went here.
Yeah.
Today.
This went off the rails, but
I want to circle back quickly to Seth Rogen pickle guy.
It's a pickle.
So
Do we have to?
I'll at least say this. The premise sounds like Seth Rogen's going to make it really goofy, and I don't know how it's going to turn out because I read the story that this was based on. It was called Sellout. It was in the New Yorker, and basically it like the stereotypical, like the ideal of the industrial era working man just sort of dunking on bougie Brooklynites.
Look at fucking Mr. Fancy Pants Peter over here reading the New Yorker.
Oh, yeah. I used all my 4 articles reading the trial. Yeah, like he basically wakes up and like his counterpart in the present is like he writes scripts for like, you know, crappy Hollywood comedies. It's like I got to punch up the script for Monkey President.
I mean, that sounds... I mean, write what you know, I suppose.
Right. So it's just Herschel being like he just does the American dream again, and he just builds up his own fortune from nothing. Meanwhile, as he watches like his like great grandson just like be a pathetic like celebrity chasing sort of vapid shell of a man.
Vapid shell of a man. Alrighty.
There you go. Oh, okay, never mind. But
The brine,
I have good.
the brine preserved him, so I don't think it's that realistic.
Children of the Brine.
Kinda
The
takes me
Brine
to-
Nation. Remember the Brine
There's-
Nation from Aquaman?
Oh no, yes, sort of the crab people, right?
Yes, they were actually called the Brine Nation. It was one of the
Okay.
kingdoms of
Everything
Atlantis. that
changed.
Now, you
When
sure
the
they wasn't from Avatar, right? That wasn't one of the nations.
No, they were like the Brine Nation or the Children of the Brine or something. They were one of the, I think it was 4 tribes of Atlantis that Ocean Master had to
Ocean.
fucking
Master.
read.
I would call them the Brine Trust.
The Brine. That's what their form of government is. They have a few crab people, hominids, who sit on the throne, and they're called the Brine Trust.
Oh, hominids, the worst creature type.
Kobolds.
Kobolds, they have charm
love
and they come down
kobolds.
for 0. You can combo off with kobolds. I feel.
I mean,
'cause
yeah,
they
if
have
you're
the magical
playing
0.
like Cheerios.
Yeah, you can't. Hominids can't eat Cheerios.
They don't.
They go into their shells and they have power and toughness based on the tides. It's an awful ability.
What are these cards? I've never.
Here's a 2/2 for 3. It takes a turn before it becomes a 2/2. Do you know? Like, do you remember the original ability for the old school Hominid?
I have never played Homelands or
All right, so it's a 2/2 for 3. But when it comes into play, you put a tide counter on it. When one tide counter is on it, it gets -1, -1 because the tide's out. And then when it has 2, nothing happens because the tide's sort of in. And then when there's 3 on it, it gets +1, +1
Okay.
because the tide's in. And then remove all the tide counters. So the tide comes in and the tide comes out.
Oh.
but you
Not
could
good.
then stifle the ability to remove them and have +1, +1. You have a 3 for 3. That's almost a gray ogre.
Now, well, I don't know, because like when there are 4,
Or you can have Hominid. You can have the one that has a shell on it, where you pay blue, it gains Shrouded till end of turn, and you tap it, and it doesn't untap during your next untap step.
That's an ability, tap to not untap during your untap step.
No. I don't even want to go look for it. No, you pay blue for the privilege.
Oh, okay.
So it goes into its shell, and it takes a turn to come out. Hominids, just fucking straight competitive fire.
Well, I mean, for the time, they maybe were not disproportionately worse than many of the creature types that were
Yeah, that's true.
printed.
that's a really
You had
bad
such
card.
bangers like Veldrain of Sengir, which was a 5/5. They got -3/-0 when it attacked.
Yeah,
for 7.
some of the
had
counterbalance.
Pro Green.
Yeah, some of the counterbalancing they felt they need to do on these rather pedestrian cards in that era, just quite comical when you look at some of the shit they're printing now, which are literally 1-card combo engines
Grody.
with no drawback. All right, on to the follow-up. States are starting to reopen, so there are some more movies in theaters now and some more theaters open, although for this week, May 10th to May 8th, it's still pretty much just all IFC films. Because while theaters are opening, movie studios aren't putting out movies.
IFC is flourishing.
So we have The Wretched up 5.6% from last week. 69,608 for the gross. That's actually pretty respectable. 19 theaters and 7 more theaters. So 7 theaters nets them an extra 5%. So I guess people aren't rushing back into movie theaters. Average of 3,600 per turn. I don't know if you guys looked at this last week. I saw that it was not new, so we didn't pick it for our spotlight.
I believe we did take a check.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did because we looked at we found a bot. Remember the bot?
and he's here. The bot's here on this. I found it.
Really?
I found Piano BAC's son, Mortal Kombat Wear Pink.
Oh,
He's here.
good. We should read. We should read it.
Okay.
We are. It's the same
I
thing.
know. But the category is different. My
So, but the real story here, like Disappearance at Clifton Hill, whatever, True History of the Kelly Game, we've talked about these.
Yeah.
But this movie's title caught my eye. How to Build a Girl. It's in 6 theaters. It made $13,000. It's so weird to see like movie grosses less than my savings account.
Yeah. Yeah.
How to Build a Girl. Listen to the description of this and see if you're as similarly enchanted as I was. The novel charts the journey of teenager Johanna Morrigan, Beanie Feldstein, who reinvents herself as Dolly Wilde, fast-talking lady sex adventurer, moves to London, gets a job as a music critic in the hopes of saving her poverty-stricken family in Wolverhampton. Just a lot of shit being thrown at you.
So I need my vocabulary pre-work.
Fast talking, lady sex adventurer, moves to London, and gets a job as a music critic in the hopes of saving her poverty stricken. That's how that's written. So of course, with something like this, we had to make it our spotlight film.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And there's only 15 reviews, so we're gonna cover a lot of them, over 30%. You'll get the general consensus. This is maybe a little outside my purview. Usually I stick to like the 8s and the 9s and the 10s, but I saw this 7-star review that I just had to read. This is the Pinko Piano Scum Mortal Kombat Wear Pink. Oh, is this the same review as the other one?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You can read it. Enjoy. You can work your way through it. I'll just take a chill while you go for it.
Oh, if you already read it, I won't read it. I did not know that this is a man who has posted on several films this exact same review.
Go to his account. Yes, he just posts on everything.
And all he does is he changes the category. The type of the movie.
Yeah.
But you can agree that it's such just a nonsensical screed.
It is a nonsensical screed, which is why I picked it. But now I have to pivot to a different review. 9 out of 10 by Annie881-529753. What the like these auto-assigned usernames, man. 9 out of 10. Funny and smart comedy with a heart. I thoroughly enjoyed this funny, clever movie about a girl coming of age and trying to create her life. I didn't know anything about the book, so I wasn't comparing it to that. I love the scenes of Johanna discovering the music scene in her own voice as a teenager. The Wall of Gods and her flights of fancy were fun and entertaining. The film beautifully conveyed the magic of music, clubs and bands, and how they make you feel when you go to a live show in a small club, especially for the first time when you were very young. The way the film showed and also poked fun at the boys' club of the music and magazine scene was great. I'm sure it was. It also showed the darker side and the price she paid for admittance. Oh, did she have to blow someone to get into the magazine? I was rooting for her the whole time. The people in her family and the music scene were all interesting to me and different in their own way. Each communicated a lot emotionally, even if the role in the story was small. The ending is fantastic. 1 out of 1 found this helpful, so she rated her own review.
What say you, Jake?
Okay, well, 2 people had differing opinions and thought this was a 1 out of 10. Especially Rue Gatsby. Patty Considine is wasted on this. Is that the main actress? Or is that... Anyway.
No.
I knew nothing about this movie going into it. It's a very smug film that continuously pats itself on the back for being so smug. There isn't really anything unique or original about this coming-of-age story. Sure, it has bright colors and drops some fuzzy, cool cultural references. Ooh, Happy Mondays, Manic Street Preachers, ... One period away from an ellipses. Okay. What year is this supposed to be?
What year is this?
End of parentheses. But all of its charm is superficial. It is predictable, poorly paced, and the main character is frustratingly unlikable. Her narcissism seems to always end up being rewarded, even when things go awry for her. Patty Considine is super enthusiastic as her father, but even his character still comes off as a total brat. Every character is a brat. There's no room for development or real redemption. All are brats. Formula. I struggled. I haven't seen so many brats since the movie Bratz.
Those fucking dolls. Oh my god.
Sequel
Who
to Barbie.
fucking greenlit those?
Somebody who wanted that Barbie money. Every character is a brat. There's no room for development or real redemption in the formula. I struggled to make it through the film. It is so unapologetically tone deaf. Maybe, just maybe, it's barely worth watching if only you can convince yourself that every single character is an extension of the author's completely self-absorbed persona, like a teenage music critic, fever dream Fight Club, but without the flair, ideologies, or big reveal. Yeah, preach, Rue Gatsby, preach. You did it. 5 out of 8 found this helpful.
You know what?
Wowzers.
I'm inclined to agree more with that review than the positive review because that was very detailed and very thorough. Compared to, I liked it.
Yeah. Ooh, it was nice. Cool characters. They had some really good points, and they were really descriptive about what they did not like. Which I'm
all right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a middling review. I think it's a little closer to Jake's, but these are never truly as interesting. So for your entertainment, this video clown here is gonna slap himself every time we hear a hyphenated word or phrase. Let's go, kids. Here's Gallus and Umpty's review of How to Build a Girl.
Jake, should we tell Peter that we're the only ones who can see him?
Oh, they'll hear it. Forgettable coming of age caper. Oh, guys. I'll be honest. I already wasn't a fan of Caitlin Morgan's origin before I tried reading the book on which this film is based, and I got about 2 chapters into it before realizing it wasn't going to change my mind. So when this turned out to be the surprise film I'd pre-booked a ticket for at a recent festival, I wasn't expecting much. And that's what I got. It's the semi-biographical, played for laughs, tale of a bookish teenage girl from a none too well-off family. Her father is a failed musician, her mother suffers from postnatal depression, and she shares a bedroom with her teenage brother. With encouragement from talking posters on her wall, she finds her writing mojo, with the proverbial hilarious consequences. But we know the real Caitlin Moran is still a writer, so you can probably guess the ending. I thought perhaps having never been a teenage girl myself was the main reason for failing to connect with anything the protagonist experienced. But my wife seemed to like it even less than I did, so I have to conclude it just wasn't very good. 26 out of 46. Found this helpful.
It does have an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is interesting because it has a very bad 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb. But, you know.
Now you got to prop it back up, Kurt. Yeah, give us hope for this movie.
Tell us why it's the best movie ever.
Oh, there's really, like, all of the good reviews for this movie are basically boiled down to, I liked it. So I will read this review in a funny voice. Lovely, heartfelt coming-of-age movie. This film really charmed me. Though the main character's accent wandered a little, I forgave it very quickly because the story and the protagonist's journey were very engaging, and there are plenty of laughs and heartbreaking moments along the way, and I have left having been thoroughly entertained. 8 out of 11 found that helpful? Jesus Christ.
Nice break.
8 out of 10 was the review from Breen, Breen Dude. -1. This is
Braid is not IMDb critic.
This is the only movie he's reviewed.
Man. Wow.
IMDb member since April 2008. One review.
One review. Well, you're not a very good IMDb member then, because Holly Forever has a disagreement with you. 1 out of 10, that accent. I'm not a fan of Caitlin Moran, but am often willing to give a good story a chance, despite the author, Waltz in Beanie, who Hollywood is trying to shove down the public's throat, despite her below-average looks and talent, and her horrid accent. I want to say horrid was in all caps. Why would anyone cast a semi-autobiographical story about an English writer with an American lead is beyond comprehension, and I could barely get through 10 minutes of the ear-ripping, typical American trying to sound English accent. It's all hyphenated. That she looks nothing like her other family members, nor does she even look English for that matter. And I was out. Stop trying to make Beanie happen. I refuse to see anything she's in starting from now. 1 out of 6. Found that helpful. It's a 1 out of 10. She didn't like the lady, the girl.
That is hilarious in the context of my second review of this by Polarity Pictures. Beanie disappeared into the role and made it good. Expected something rough. Wasn't bad. She did a great accent. I was listening carefully for any hiccups in it, and nothing too bad. After a few scenes, she disappeared into the character and made it believable. It's exactly what an actor's supposed to do. Story was alright, but standard fare. Soundtrack could have been better by choosing more unique tracks rather than ones that are more known. 2 out of 5 found this helpful.
So I'm watching the trailer for this, and yeah, the accent is pretty bad.
Yeah. It just seems really quirky. So I was like interested to see what the actress Beanie Feldstein has done.
Yeah, because I'm watching the trailer. She looked like the fat girl from Booksmart a little bit. So I wanted to see if she was the fat girl from Booksmart. She was not.
Oh, she wasn't Booksmart though.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't get that far.
Is that? It says she's Molly in
Oh,
Booksmart,
okay,
so
yeah.
that's
All right,
factor,
so she was. Yeah, she
Yeah.
was. I didn't see
She-
that. It was buried deep in
She
her
wasn't
filmography.
She's not like in a ton of stuff. Like, like the girl says, like Hollywood's trying to shove Beanie down her throat, but she's not in anything big. I mean, she was in Grey's Anatomy, in like an episode of that. She was in an episode of Simpsons, which doesn't count. What We Do in the Shadow, she was in 4 of the episodes. Booksmart, an episode of Will and Grace. Like, I don't.
In fairness, Booksmart did get a really big media push
Okay.
and like got a lot of praise heaped on it, despite being a rather pedestrian remake of Superbad. And it was like the third remake of Superbad in like 2 years, right? Because you had Little Bitches the year before.
Oh.
Like, let's just keep remaking Superbad until someone notices.
Oh,
I
shit,
noticed.
Stop.
I noticed. Oh, wow. I'm looking at the reviews that the bot has the movies
Oh,
he's put
yeah.
it under. Quite a motley crew here. I just love his most recent ratings. Hustlers, Mrs. Serial Killer, Den of Thieves, Justice League, Dark, Apocalypse War, All Day and a Night. Although interesting to note, it is not 7 stars each time. Sometimes it is 6.
We noticed that too. It's maybe it's an anti bot catching technique.
Perhaps.
Yeah, might be.
Oh! There's an 8-star.
Oh shit! Who got the special honor?
The Other Lamb. That was an 8-star review on a 5-star general movie.
Is the lamb particularly misogynistic?
I mean, it is about an all-female cult led by a man and their combat. We talked about this briefly.
We did. Yes, we did. So, I may see a pattern here.
Yeah, the Invisible Man only got 6 stars. So that's some noise in the data there. Joker only got 6 stars. I'm surprised. He seems like someone who would have really enjoyed Joker.
Yeah.
Nope, all the rest are just 6 and 7. Even the Willoughbys got in there.
Really? Oh my God, what this nice show for the kids, the Willoughbys. I wonder how it is on IMDb. Oh God!
Resistance 6 stars. Avengers Endgame 7 stars. I'm surprised he didn't give it 2 stars because of that one scene towards the end there.
Is the green star the rating, or is it the orange?
The green star is their rating. The orange star is its
No, the green star
overrating.
is the local co-op in Ithaca that sells groceries.
Because they gave Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge 10 out of 10.
I only looked at their 40 most recent reviews. So, but yeah, it sure is the same review
Sure is an account.
on all of these movies.
That it is.
IMDb member 4 years, so presumably he's been posting this same review on movies for 4 years now, and we've only just discovered the man.
This could be our new obsession.
Not obsession, but like I think we can all pop a bottle of champagne when his reviews come up in a
I think
segment.
he needs to be our nemesis. I think we need to find him.
We need to
Like
feud with him.
He's our Moby Dick.
Do we need to challenge him to ritualistic
He's our-
combat?
So we're the white whales.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be white, but I've never been known to be a whale for anything. I've barely spent any money on Pokemon Go.
Can I be what's that rapper? Wale?
Whale. Wale's he's cool
Let me
people.
Make sure.
My understanding.
Oh, we could be like the villain in Black Lightning.
Never watched Black Lightning, so
The All Black Show still managed to get a redheaded villain in there.
good.
Whose theme was like he was the theme of like he had a fucking harpoon or whatever.
Something like that.
Oh my! All right, I looked up Wale. I think that's how it's pronounced, right? Okay. I really have never. I only like saw the word in print in passing somewhere. Anyways, I looked at the frequently asked questions about him, and the second most popular one is how do you pronounce it? It's like okay, cool. So I had the same question, but the first one is Wale a African?
It's actually like he had a song on one of the Madden soundtracks, like 08 or 09 or something like that. And I learned very early on in my playing of that game that it was Wale, don't say Wally, because that was a line in the song that was repeated about twice. And that song was like one of 6 on the soundtrack, so came up quite a bit.
Hey, I see.
Also, big wrestling fan
Makes
hosts
sense.
Wale Mania every year, which is like a big party with wrestling at it.
Oh, while we're speaking about real people, I think we would be remiss.
Oh yes, I forgot. I almost forgot. Yeah, we lost the legend this week. Normally when someone that we know dies, it's just like we'll put in the group chat, like, such and such dies. But this was a special case. Peter texted me like, wait till after breakfast to check the news. And like nothing came up immediately in like my Google News feed or like on my front page of Reddit. So I got like really concerned. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I went to all and saw that Jerry Stiller passed away, comedy icon in both the 60s and 90s. Everyone knows that I am a huge Seinfeld fan, and Frank Costanza is arguably my favorite Seinfeld character. Also, Arthur Spooner is the only reason anyone should ever watch King of Queens.
Yes, I can attest to that. I've inadvertently watched a lot of King of Queens, which I think is the primary viewing mode
Yes.
for most people in America. Is inadvertently viewed it during a weekday.
Yeah, because I think it was like a lead-in to Seinfeld at one point on TBS. And it's like, oh yeah, Seinfeld's on at this
wow.
point. Well, like not like when they were on the air. I think CBS was.
Okay.
I
I really don't know. I didn't have CBS. I didn't have NBC. Again, I will restate for this is one of my frequently commented bits of Peter lore. I had 2.5 channels growing up. I had Fox. I had Warner Brothers, whatever local TV station they supported, and I had fuzzy public access or public television.
How did you watch your cartoons?
Oh, Fox!
Fox Kids had a dynamite
for sure.
How about Toonami,
Yeah.
though?
lineup.
A Cartoon Network.
No Toonami. I never watched Dragon Ball. That's why I didn't watch Dragon Ball Z growing up. I didn't watch SpongeBob growing
No
up.
Yu Yu
I didn't watch,
Hakusho?
like fucking no Yu Yu Hakusho, no Cat Dog, no Ed and Eddie, no Johnny Bravo,
Rugrats?
no Rugrats.
I didn't watch.
I had Dygada Defenders and Winx and Static Shock and Mucha Lucha and Coconut
Okay.
Fred's
All right.
Fruit Salad
All right,
Island.
Mucho Lucha was dope. That was dope.
I mean, it was certainly a thing.
Mucho Lucha was the best.
It's a and then Ricochet went from animated into real life. Now they have to get.
He's
the flea
Rick
hair.
O'Shea now. He's Irish, apparently.
Did he actually do
He
it?
changed his Twitter name to that, at least.
Oh.
That's so dumb.
All right,
But Jerry
here's some.
Stiller, yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace, Jerry Stiller. Comedy legend. I watched some clips. A lot of people putting out in memoriam clips now. Conan put out a clip on his channel of an interview with Ben and Jerry Stiller promoting the Cable Guy, where Ben Stiller was sick and Jerry Stiller had to like go into the green room and drag him out. And he's like, "You're not going to embarrass me on national television."
So I want to see the displays of the Festivus poles around Christmas time.
Of course, always.
At his memorial site. It's gonna be grievances will be
aired, and all the tinsel in the world should be burned so it can no longer distract anyone. I have some deep cut Seinfeld references.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. That's why I was when I sent that text to Kurt, I was very concerned because I know he is the resident Seinfeld diehard fan among us. I was like, this is gonna hit hard. Man needs to be in a strong positive place before he reads this info.
It hit different. It hit a lot different. Also, I think I don't know if you talked about it on the show last week, but Little Richard passed away.
Oh no.
So
yeah, that too.
To everyone.
Gives you a That's our cultural connection to him. Never mind the fact that he basically fucking pioneered shit ton of rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard his music before. Gaming news. Big news this week is Epic's Unreal Engine 5 demo. They ran it on the PS5. It looked very impressive. But it did spark a bunch of debate. Like, the PC Master Race subreddit has been like a shit show recently.
Don't worry, guys.
Like,
it's okay.
You know, it looked very impressive, but what I saw was the PS5 struggling to maintain 60 frames per second on 1440p in this engine. And everyone's like talking about how the PS5 is going to be so strong. Like, yes, this always happens with new consoles. They are very strong price to performance candidates when they launch. Then the following year, they are lower end systems, and then the year after that they are worse than many budget systems you can put together. It's the cycle, happens every time. But if I hear about the PS5's SSD one more fucking time, I'm going to strangle someone.
Oh.
What about its SSD?
Tell me about its SSD.
It's supposedly
it has one. Is that what it is?
Supposedly it's the greatest thing ever, and it will make games run 100 times faster because it has like 5.5 gigabits per second throughput, which yes is faster than you can get on even the higher end Gen 4 PCIe SSDs. But you know, it does one thing: it loads the files.
Yeah.
Yeah, like. If the thing you're putting forward as your stat isn't every performance metric at the same time almost, that just says, yeah, no, we have this one cool thing, but it gets bottlenecked somewhere else.
Like, yeah, like the whole thing is 12 teraflop GPU. Well, it's a system on a chip. Like, it's hard to quantify comparatively to anything because it's a purpose-built system on a chip. So yes, it's going to be able to run tasks efficiently, and apparently they have some sort of Kraken compression algorithm that can increase the throughput temporarily to like close to 10 gigabits per second. But that sounds a lot like fucking blast processing marketing jumbo to me. Like
that was another situation where it was the Genesis versus the Super Nintendo, right? And the Genesis, the one stat that they could push was the clock speed.
Yes. So one developer, I think for Sonic 2, discovered a trick where you could send like a few bits of data in a certain way that could get the Genesis's CPU to turbo up to, I think, like 7 megahertz or something like that. Mm-hmm. Which was slightly faster than the Super Nintendo, but that was the only way that the Genesis was technologically superior to the Super Nintendo. Although, in Sega's defense, the Genesis also came out 2 years before the Super Nintendo.
Yes, the Genesis was there to dunk on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Which it did rather well. But yeah, the Unreal Engine 5, if we just remove the PlayStation 5 from it, is a very, very impressive piece of technology that can display very photorealistic textures, and they talked about how like they can losslessly take billions of triangles of geometry for cinema quality textures and losslessly compress it down to 20 million triangles, which is a lot easier to draw. There's a 9-minute video at it. I'll link it to you guys. Just any of you out there can just Google, if you haven't already seen it, Unreal 5 engine revealed. It's about a 9-minute video. They do a very thorough technical breakdown of the engine, and it is running on the PS5. They showed it at 1440p using something called dynamic resolution, which they didn't really explain too well what the hell that means.
Does it use quantum pixels?
I don't think so, but it does have like the geometry it draws is like pixel in size. Like the triangles for the geometry can be as small as a single pixel.
It does look. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. So, but
turns out they'll put their best foot forward when they're pushing their new system.
Isn't like, this is why I get so fucking annoyed about all this, like, PS5 talk and like Xbox Series X too, and how the new consoles are going to outperform a lot of PCs and stuff like that. And it's just like, no one has, like, particularly a lot of people cite this Digital Foundries article that says that the Xbox Series X will perform between a GTX 2080 and a 2080 Ti. Problem with that, though, is, to my knowledge, Digital Foundries does not have an Xbox Series X to test that claim, nor do they have access to a software development kit to test that claim. So right now we have just a bunch of unverified claims, which you would be stupid to believe, because if you rewind back to 2013, the PS4 and the Xbox One were supposed to run games at 1080p 60 frames per second, no problem. But instead we got like games at 900p and struggling to maintain 30 at times. So they promise the moon always. You don't get that. So I don't know why people think this time's going to be different.
Yeah, no. It's like that, been like that for years.
Yeah. So like, just remove that. Like, the only thing that we've heard from someone not employed by Sony and who has access to the hardware is Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games, saying that the SSD on the PS5 is faster than what you can get commercially on PC right now. That's it. And it's storage. Like,
yeah.
You have to consider the fact that if they do continue putting games on discs, you're going to be limited by the disk read speed, number one. If they don't, if they install everything to your hard drive, then you're going to run into space issues because, like, sure, you put the whole game on the SSD, it loads up super quick, you can pop in all these textures, what have you. But if you can only fit like 5 games on there, if there are like 100 gigabyte games, it's a 500 gigabyte SSD. What value is that technology?
That is the kind of, that's the silly bottleneck that they will certainly run into, and you'll have to deal with it when you take your 2 hours to download your game. And then you'll have to throw it out in a couple weeks when you want to download.
You drive 2 hours to your friend who has like fucking FiOS in his house to download your game. And then you drive back to your place to play it, and then you have to do it again. Like, I'm sure they're going to be fine. Like, if you want to get a PS5 or an Xbox, hell, I'm going to buy a PS5 because it's going to be backwards compatible with PS4 games, and there are a few PS4 games that I want to play. But, like, more power to you. I'm sure it's going to be a good piece of equipment for the next couple of years, and then it's going to look kind of outdated kind of fast.
Yeah,
as it always does.
SSDs like that, I mean, if whenever they come out with something like that speed for PC, we have the option to always include that in our rigs. I mean, we can always pop one in there. It's
And
not hard
that's
to.
the only part we'd have to buy.
Yeah,
Like, I don't have to replace my whole system to upgrade the SSD.
You're not telling me that like the CPU and the GPU on the PS5 is what is the main driving force, which is like sometimes something that's maybe not as available for a PC user. But that's not the thing that's groundbreaking. It's the SSD. So it's like, all right, well, when it comes out for the PC, I'll get it, and then I'll have your speeds.
And then even if the GPU in the Series X is, like a 1080 Ti equivalent, we're like probably a month or two away from NVIDIA announcing the 3000 series GPUs, which is going to push the whole stack further to the right.
Yeah. It's like, good luck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, this isn't just a debate, and it's not a fault of Sony or Microsoft. This is just the nature of technology and having a modular system being an advantage over having an all-in-one system on a chip.
Yeah.
Right.
The
day when you can when you can pull apart your Xbox and upgrade the rig as you see it, that'll be the day. They'll jerk off all over.
Yeah. Well,
E3
you know what that would be, though?
E3 still exists.
That would just be having a PC.
It'd just be a mini PC. Yeah, that's what it would be. And they would. I don't think they would ever do that, because then it'd be like, all right, why buy a new console?
Yeah.
Why buy a new console when you can just buy?
We'll literally horseshoe back around where you start putting work apps on your console, and it'll be like the fucking the Amiga and the Commodore 64.
You know, it'd be funny if they go back to like cartridge systems where they sell the games on like an SSD, and you just like pop in like new SSDs every single time, so you get that
essentially
major speed.
That's how this works.
You buy the game.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say you buy the game, and then you slot in all the cartridges for the computer to play around it.
Yeah.
It's the reverse cartridge gaming.
Yeah. Gaming is having a hell of a moment right now. As I don't think this comes as a shock to anyone, but US spending on video games just hit a new quarterly record with $10.9 billion going into the gaming industry in the first quarter of 2020.
That's why Epic was feeling good. They're like, yeah, we made enough money on GTA 5.
And they gave it away free. I got it. And
I got it too.
It's awesome.
I'm downloading it now. It's 94 gigabytes. I started like an hour before the show. I'm at 90.1 of 94 gigabytes.
Even though it took a while for them to fix the Epic Game Store. It was down for a little bit.
Yeah, they.
I think that was one of the article
it.
things.
Yeah,
I think everybody was downloading it at once, so like they had struggles. So
it still says due to high demand, bandwidth in some regions may be temporarily limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is probably true. I'm getting about 13 megabytes per second down on average, which is certainly not saturating my 200 meg download speed. But that might be
beautiful.
Their servers. No thanks. Continue with ad blocker, please. Google Stadia. Google announces. No, go ahead.
Oh, I had. Speaking of free games, Fallout 76 is free this weekend. I mean, by the time you get this, it's probably people won't. It'll be over, but Fallout 76 had their free weekend this weekend, starting Thursday at noon, and that's. I mean, I think that's a cool idea to like allow people to like sort of rent games for free.
Yeah, Steam does this on occasion. It's actually fairly frequent. There'll be a free weekend game that you can sample and see if it fits your bag, baby.
Yeah.
But also, Steam has gotten, not to be outdone by Epic, Steam has gotten into the free game giveaway themselves. I've claimed a couple free games from them. The 2013 Tomb Raider and a game called Head Scratchers, which I've never played. I don't even know what it is, but it was free, so I just added it to my library.
And the true principle of Steam.
Steam saw that Epic Games was giving away GTA 5 for free. And they countered with an equally impressive offering. That's right, folks. You can get Lego Ninjago the movie, the game, for free on Steam right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they fucking they whiffed on that, I'd say.
That is funny.
So, Jesus.
I think they just have tons of deals too. I mean, I'm looking through this, like Far Cry New Dawn down 60%
On Steam or Epic?
Steam.
Oh, yeah. Epic's also having a big sale where you can claim a $10 off coupon, which you can redeem on any game priced $14.99 or up. So you can basically just get a $5 game for $5.
Little Nightmare. Well, this is only today's deal, so it doesn't really matter. Damn it! But Little Nightmares down 75%, $5. I know that's a pretty popular game. It's for aesthetic and stuff. So $5 for like a nice little platformer that you can play and dump a couple hours into.
It's
a few
the
hours.
Epic Mega Sale. Borderlands 3 is 50% off. Satisfactory is 10% off. A lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 is 20% off. Game of the Year edition, Witcher 3 is on sale 70% off for $14.99. So you can get that for $5 with the free coupon. That's a pretty good use of $5, I'd say.
Yeah.
If you haven't played any of the previous Witchers, you'll be fine. Like the story, like elements carry over, but they're not super tightly interwoven. Shenmue 3, 50% off, $24.99. Get your coupon on there. Bunch of Assassin's Creed games, heavily discounted. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, $19.99, 50% off. Assassin's Creed Rogue, 67%. Get that for $6.59. What a random price. Syndicate, $8.99. Unity, $8.99. Lots of stuff on sale right now. We talked, like, there was Tom's Hardware on a story about Stadia exclusives, but they're not news because we've talked about stacks on stacks on stacks and the Panzer Dragoon remastered stuff before, so it isn't exactly news.
You mentioned Assassin's Creed before. Did you see what their Discovery Tour is? Their Discovery Tour mode?
I have not. I know that's free. I saw an article on
free
that,
to play
but I didn't
for
know what
Odyssey
that
and
is.
Origins.
Yeah.
It's like, apparently, I think it's like the game that you can just walk through and see the environment and interact and learn about like that time period.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
But without like the killing. Like if you're not into the bloodshed and you don't care about like assassinating people, like the name, you can like.
I think so. They can just flex all their research that they do for these games.
Yeah.
Without
I
having
think that's
to,
a pretty neat concept.
It enables players to explore and learn about them without all the ugliness and the bloodshed. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, learn about fucking ancient Greece. I've been to Greece. It's pretty cool.
It's an edutainment game. I think it might even be better than Mario Goes Missing.
You shut your whore mouth. Don't ever bring that blasphemy on the show ever again.
I'm sorry. I have to say it's better than Mario Spells.
Okay, sure. But not Mario Teaches Typing.
Is it better than Paper Mario?
Okay.
Because there's a new Paper Mario
Bad
coming
segue.
out.
Talk about it, Jake. That's a bad segue, but go for it.
Paper Mario Origami King. I think it's Origami King. Just got announced. It's kind of cool. It looks neat for the Switch. I think that's like it offers a neat perspective to Paper Mario for all the Paper Mario fans. I know people really love the art style and like kind of is just so different, but now it brings it into like a 3D world, which is neat.
Yeah.
I never played Paper Mario, so not really for me, I don't think. But I think for a certain crowd, it's.
Have you tried Paper Mario and not liked it, or
No.
have you never tried it?
I never tried it. No.
You might find yourself enjoying it.
Yeah, I probably would.
The N64 version hasn't aged super well, but Thousand Year Door is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, Thousand Year Door is basically the one that they've been chasing for the last few years.
Yeah.
It is their white whale. That was Sticker Star, Color Splash, and now the origami thing. And this one, I don't know. This seems to have people more hyped than the other two.
Because
which just
Sticker Star
plopped out.
Those were like, I don't want to call them shovelware, but they weren't like true big budget sequels.
Yeah.
Like this feels like it's the third installment, you know? It's not a spin-off game in between it.
Is this like the Super Mario? Was it Odyssey? Was that the last one that came out?
Yeah.
Switch. Yeah, I feel like it's that for Paper Mario.
Oh, Odyssey's such a fucking good game. Yeah. Also, sticking with the Switch, they're releasing a May update to their classic games collection. For Switch Online subscribers, you get the selection of SNES and NES games that you can play as long as your subscription is active. They have some good ones on there, like Think Link to the Past and Kirby's Dream Course, Star Fox. They have Star Fox 2 on there, the unreleased, previously officially unreleased Star Fox 2. It's pretty realized, I'd say. Interesting. Like you play that game and you think about the fact that it was an SNES game, and you're like, this is pretty good. This is pretty good 3D for the SNES. That Super Effects chip. I don't particularly recognize many of these games, but you've got some Japanese game that looks like a puzzler. Panel de Pon is like a bejeweled
I've heard of that. That's a popular
sort of thing.
title.
Wild Guns, which isn't it?
Oh, is that the RPG? It's a Western RPG, I think. Like a Western themed RPG.
It's a Western themed shoot 'em up. It's kind of like
okay.
if you took the perspective of Gunstar Heroes and shifted it to third person instead of side scrolling. You have Operation Logic Bomb, which plays a bit like Xenocrisis, or not Xenocrisis. What is it? Xenocrisis? What was the Genesis game you brought over? Is that Xenocrisis?
The one, is it like an arena
the
shooter
twin
where
stick
it's top down
arena shooter?
That was Xenocrisis,
okay.
yeah.
You also have Rygar, which is a dude with a shield, the side-scrolling platformer. That's a NES title.
It's a classic Rygar.
And I think that's it for the May update. So I'm glad they're adding more shit on there. The Switch does not have a proper virtual console, which is stupid because if ever there was a system where the virtual console would be a huge hit, it would be the Nintendo Switch. Like, who wouldn't want to fucking be able to play Mario 64 on the shitter? Who? Who? I really want to know. Who are you? Or what's new, Scooby-Doo?
Scoob are
you know, like...
featuring Simon Cowell.
They did put...
Extended cameo.
Indeed it was. So we watched Scoob this week. This was my first experience with watching a new release at home.
I enjoyed it.
I found it pleasurable. Both the movie and the experience.
The experience of like watching a new movie at home. I laid on my couch. I have a projector, so I feel like I'm in the movie theater. I talked during it, just like people talk during my movies. So it was like,
I was able to
real experience
to pause it when I had to go to the bathroom. I went and I popped a bag of popcorn, and I didn't have to give someone $10. It was really quite amazing.
This might bode not too well for movie theaters.
There's some things like that I kind of missed about the theater experience there, like the sound system. Like, I've got a decent sound system, but it's not like movie theater sound. But But yeah, that's about it, really. Like, I was able to I didn't have to worry about my rabbits. I was able to keep an eye and chill with them. Again, being able to pause if I had to go to the bathroom. Lots of just benefits, and
And they've
go ahead.
they've made the real push starting out here with kids movies because, like you said, Trolls that did bangers.
100 million in 3
this
weeks.
movie-
And the fact that
fucked.
AMC is saying, well, fuck you, Universal. We're not going to carry their movies, even though Universal carries Fast and Furious, which is one of the biggest movie franchises around.
That is cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Especially when they're
like
$4.9 billion in debt or something ridiculous like that. I think AMC is going to fold.
it's lying in your own grave and pissing straight up.
Yeah.
But my theory on this has always been the same, and I'll say this now because I was going to talk about this last week, but obviously it wasn't on the show last week. Places like Alamo Drafthouse or fork and screen locations for AMC, they'll probably be under new management, but that place we went to in Columbus, movie feed, Hollywood Grill, drive-ins, movie theaters with a gimmick will survive because
Value
the
added
gimmick
cinema.
is what draws you there. Just regular movie theaters, it's a hard sell. Yes, $20 is a lot for me individually. If I want to see a movie that you two don't want to see and I can't split the cost with, $20 is a lot. It's easier for me to drive to the movie theater, pay $13 for a ticket, and see the movie. But so rare is it that I go to see, and I had Stubbs A-List, and that's $25 a month. You only have to see 2 movies a month to get your money's worth. But even then, it's hard because it was the same way with MoviePass. When you get your subscription service and you're like, oh, I can see all these movies. You're like, yeah, I'm going to go see all these movies. And you're like that for 2 weeks. And then you realize that not a lot of good movies get released in a calendar year. Mm-hmm. And you're struggling to go, sometimes you're just going to see they've re-released this movie for its special anniversary. You're like, well, I have it on Blu-ray, but I got to get my money's worth out of this. So I'll go and fucking see it. And splitting the cost, I did the math here, and to reach $25, that's for 3.5 movies. Very rarely do I see more than 3 movies in a month because there's just not a high enough volume of releases out there to justify it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how they always were going to be. That's how you make a successful model, is that you have to price it at above, just at that range where only the real diehard guys will get their money out of it. But now,
and the kids, to Peter's point, sorry to steal your thunder here. The kids movie,
that's fine.
The testing the market with the kids movies is really smart because building on, when we first talked about this, Jake's point with $20, it's not a lot if you're a family of 4 who drops a hundo when they go to the movies,
I was shocked when my friend told me how much he would spend going out to one movie. He's like, it's sub $10 maybe for the kids, but then him and his wife have to get tickets, so that's $26 right there, probably $40 to $50 after you get all the tickets, and then 2 kids want popcorns and candies and soda. He said he would spend $100 going out to the movies with his family, and now we can do it for $20 in his living room.
$20 in his living room. Don't have to fucking even watch the movie.
Popcorn?
You just sit your kids.
Get a pizza delivered.
Yeah.
You pop your own popcorn. You have your own soda. You have your own candy. You can just sit. You don't even have to watch the movie. You can just sit the kids in there, and it's probably cost neutral. And then you go fucking
God forbid you have a
bone
sleepover.
your wife in the other room while the kids are watching the movie.
You do whatever he wants because it's in his own house. They're fine. He doesn't have to worry about yelling at his kids to be quiet during the movie or something like that. We don't have to worry about other people disturbing our experience when we want to pay attention to Spider-Verse. But, a group of kids are kicking the seats and being numbskulls.
100% with that, because I remember, and if you can go back and you can listen to the sentiments if you want to dig through the archives. Yeah. One of my things first off, everyone knows how much I hate fucking applauding movies in the theater. Yeah. Secondly, I remember kids are the worst, and I remember specifically. I've had a few experiences. Obviously, the Coco debacle where I gave up my seat to let a grandchild sit with their grandparents, and then the grandchild just fucking would not shut up. And then like Batman versus Superman, I don't know if Peter and I saw that together, or I think we were separate at that time. But like there was like a kid's birthday party at the fucking theater in Wellsville. And what I remember most, because we had watched Deadpool the week before, I'm like, it's so nice to have a rated R movie where kids aren't there. Like every movie should be rated R. But now I don't even have to worry about that, because I can sit and I can watch it in the quiet of my own home. And most importantly, I'm not going to get weird looks for bringing a notebook into the theater to take notes. And I don't have to like try to fucking blind man my notes down because I can't see what the fuck I'm writing.
Yeah.
In this dimly lit movie theater.
And this is nothing to say of the other market implications of kids' movies, which we've talked about before. That being that kids' movies ticket sales are flat across the time of their theater run. They just go forever. And also that I feel like you could really pull a lot of very consistent data out of kids' viewing patterns, because they watch movies in a fundamentally different way than adults do. Cut to if you've ever gone to anyone's house who has a younger brother or sister, and they just watch the same movie all day
wore
for
out
months.
Our Toy Story VHS. Like that thing did not work after a couple of years. And that's another thing too. Like with this rental period, you have 48 hours. You can watch the movie as many times as you want. So your kids can get fucking Trolls World Tour out of their goddamn system, and you only have to pay $20 for it.
Yeah.
So, that being said, I predict Scoob will be a rip-roaring success.
I think so.
Another one. This may be, certainly if it is, that will be a huge sign to producers and movie people everywhere that Trolls was not a fluke, that this is a model that's sustainable. But let's talk about the movie.
Yeah. So the worst part about this movie is this movie's kind of like in two halves. The first half is a lovely love letter to Scooby-Doo. I'm glad they even fucking took scenes from the original introduction to the cartoon. For their
most of that was original.
They adapted the intro, right?
Shot for shot. I saw the classic must. Everything was there. That made me really happy.
Oh, that was super cool.
But the second half ventured a little too much into we're trying to just make a summer blockbuster kind of movie. It bordered too. It melded the worlds of Scooby-Doo and superhero movies a little too much for my taste in parts. Overall, it wasn't bad. I liked the inclusion of the Blue Falcon. I laugh anytime anyone uses the term adult son, because it's just funny. Adult son Brian. But the biggest problem I had with this movie was the fact that although the original cast, or the more well-known cast for Scooby-Doo, was available, they chose to use bigger name actors. And I understand the theory that you need to have big names on the marquee to sell the movie. But obviously they weren't planning to release this in COVID-19 times. But I feel like Scooby-Doo is what's drawing people to the theater, not Will Forte or Zac Efron or Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, but you saw who the voice
Yeah.
of Scoob was, right? I mean, he was the original voice of Fred in like the 1970s show.
Yeah.
And
That's
he was
interesting.
He was the
I did
voice of
not actually know
Fred,
that.
maybe and or the dog. He did a really good Scooby Doo voice, which makes me wonder if the original voice of Fred also did the voice of Scoob.
But Matthew Lillard,
Oh.
who I believe, let me make sure I'm not mistaken. He's the newer voice of. Well, he played Shaggy in the live action Scooby Doo's, and I think he did some voice work post Casey Kasem, because Casey Kasem's the voice of Shaggy in all of our hearts. But unfortunately, he passed away in 2014.
Right.
So you can't get him.
Yeah, why didn't they get him?
Yeah. I mean, they go
Necromancy?
They go spoilers. They go into the underworld.
That's
this
true.
Movie.
But yeah, Matthew Lillard was hoping that he would be included as the voice of Shaggy, but wasn't, and only found out after they publicly announced the cast list. And I will just say that Will Forte, not the best choice for Shaggy. Didn't sound quite right.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a little off.
That's how I would describe.
I
the
heard
couple
Will
things in this
Forte all
movie.
the time. Like I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's Will Forte.
Yeah, I didn't
Because
hear.
he was too Will Forte and not enough Shaggy.
I didn't hear Shaggy. But before we get into main reviews, I enjoyed the movie overall. I really liked the first half, and it felt like if you gave me or someone like me who's a big Scooby-Doo fan growing up but has, more mature sensibilities now and a certain style of humor, I feel like I probably would have written something very similar. And whenever a movie's writing matches what I probably would have done with the movie, I tend to enjoy it because obviously I would hopefully like something I write, although my track record on my own creations and enjoying them is spotty.
I would recommend this. This is not my favorite piece of Scooby-Doo related media that's come out in the last couple of years. Although I have not finished the series, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated takes that.
Yes, that
spot
is
for
very
me.
good. And it's not as good as that. Like, this is not peak Scooby-Doo. This isn't the best Scooby-Doo movie. I mean, it's certainly not as good as On Zombie Island. Although, I don't know if that's a fair comparison, but it's good. Like, it's fine. I understand some of the decisions they made, even though I personally disagree with them. It's good for the kids. It's good for people who aren't kids. If you're a fan of Scooby-Doo, you'll enjoy this movie. If you're not a fan of Scooby-Doo, there's probably some stuff in here for you to enjoy. I wouldn't say go out of your way to watch it, but if you have kids, and you have to sit down with them to watch it, you're not going to be bored to tears. You got Tracy Morgan in here, and that was great.
There were a lot of surprising things. I mean, like Ken Jeong as the Dynamut. I was like, he sounds so familiar, but I couldn't put a finger on it. I'm like, oh, it's Ken Jeong.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I saw the
credits.
credits. I was watching the credits. I'm like, that's who that was. I wondered why he sounded familiar.
I know. It was pretty crazy. And then also Fred Jones, Zac Efron as Fred. I was like, oh, that's so odd. But I like this movie. I kind of try to view it as like two perspectives, as a kid and then also as an adult. And there was a lot of stuff for the kids that they would go haha and be very entertained and kept amused throughout the entire movie. And then there's a lot of stuff that I got as an adult.
Yes,
And I was like, this is entertaining. This is a kids movie. And I think that's kind of why I like kids movies, is because there's little nuggets of gold that are for adults that you can appreciate, but there's also the whimsy of the kid-based entertainment.
I feel that this movie had a higher proportion of stuff for adults than most kids'
I think
movies.
Yeah. And that would make sense, though, because, I mean, this is a 50-year-old property almost.
Yeah. Also, Hollywood, stop with your emotional climaxes. It's too much.
Too much. Don't need to cry
I
every
was like
time.
fucking, and I was petting one of my bunnies too as I was watching this, and I'm like holding it tighter, and like its fur is getting wet and matted from tears.
Yeah, they really planned that emotional part. But I mean, they had great parts.
Yeah, that's
and parts that I didn't like. And there were some iffy parts, but you know, every movie has those. It's not a perfect movie. Had a little pacing issues maybe towards the middle, but I think I was pretty kept on track the entire time for the most part.
very watchable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go into spoilers.
Yep. Yeah. I don't think like the plot is a bog standard friendship plot plus Scooby-Doo plot. They find a thing, so I don't think it'll be worth much to talk about the sequence of events that happen. I kind of just want to talk about elements of it. Be like,
The
what's
one
good, what's
objection
not?
I have with the plot, very light on mystery. Very much more of an action movie, sort of like we got to get the MacGuffin or stop the bad guy from getting the MacGuffin versus like Scooby-Doo mystery. Then it's not like Scooby-Doo mysteries are like the fucking work of Agatha Christie or anything like that, but there's more mystery and whimsy to them typically. This was more of like a superhero movie with Scooby-Doo characters.
This was a secret. They secretly injected a pilot for the Hanna-Barbera combined universe. That's like they snuck it in as this movie. That's a side note that I want to talk about is that I don't know why, but the works of Hanna-Barbera they have a weird tendency to want to coalesce into greater things just in the cultural thought sphere, because that's eventually sort of what Venture Brothers
tell you
ended
why.
up being.
Well, two things. Well, I mean, I guess Harvey Birdman probably also inspired by this, but Universal Studios Orlando, now it's Nicktoons ride, but originally Hanna-Barbera ride. Combined universe, very popular attraction.
Yeah.
Probably inspired.
It's not a bad move. And it's great. I think it holds a lot of cash for people. And so it's always a great idea to be like, hey, look, let's take these weird, zany one-off shows and we'll just put them together. And they're just so incongruent on their own that it's so easy to just be like, here's Captain Caveman with the Blue Falcon. Totes. And I just looked, I originally wanted to see if He-Man was a Hanna-Barbera thing, because that just feels like that. But I ended up looking through the entire works of Hanna-Barbera. It was so interesting. It's just an interesting trip. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here. I think anyone who's just even generically interested in it, go to the list of works produced by Hanna-Barbera on Wikipedia, scroll through, just be like, wow, what the fuck? That's crazy. Such things like Fred and Barney meet the Thing. The Thing being the Marvel member of the Fantastic Voyage.
There was an era of Scooby-Doo cartoons wherein Scooby-Doo and Shaggy or the gang would team up with certain people within the Hanna-Barbera universe. You had the Harlem Globetrotters and other figures. You had Harlem Globetrotters. You had Don Knotts in one episode. You had Batman and Robin, one of the more famous ones.
Yep. Was there ever any milk? Were there actually cookies?
Yeah, so there's a lot there. But specifically this movie, I feel, it incorporated some Hanna-Barbera properties in there. Sorry, I got a text. Yeah, it incorporated these other Hanna-Barbera properties in a way that worked within the story.
I mean, we had 4.
It didn't. Yeah,
Blue Falcon, Scooby Doo, Captain Caveman, and
Speed Racer.
Dastardly, or no, Dastardly and Muttley.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah, Dick Dastardly and
Oh,
Muttley
Wacky
from Wacky
Races,
Races.
not Speed Racer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Speed.
Oh, he's gonna go up that cliff.
He's gonna go over that cliff. Ah!
I just love how there's like 2 frames of animation.
So good. Of note, they repeatedly talk about how Dick Dastardly is kind of ugly and kind of mean and gross, but like there are scenes where he looks like quite a catch. Like where he breaks. I think it was the second time he comes out of his disguise. He was disguised as Fred, and he breaks out, and he's wearing nice, form-fitting slacks, a tasteful turtleneck, and he's got his cut hair, and he looks just
He
damn
looked like a
good.
snack. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he looks like a snack when he was disguised as that highway patroller.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Wait, who is the voice of that? That was some famous lady.
I don't know, probably like fucking some porn star.
No, like, oh god, let me see.
Yeah,
Scoob
that Danny
IMDb.
Danielle's in their Scooby Doo movie.
I don't know the name.
sure.
Sasha Grey is like the
let's see,
last
where's the
porn star
fucking
name I
full-
ever bothered to commit to memory.
Danny Danielle's is
Da,
funny.
da, da, da.
She does TikTok sometimes.
Porn stars are interesting people, from everything I hear.
I think they have a great character.
Was it Christina Hendricks? Oh, okay, that's maybe who I was thinking of. Anyways, yeah. Also, so next order of business, Simon Cowell. That just felt out of place to me.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was a little too much.
weird.
I feel
would've-
like they had someone else that they wanted to get for that, because like it's an investor. It could be literally anyone who has money or is known to have money. And I
Weinstein?
think like 1 through 4 on their wish list didn't pan out. So someone was just like had their head in their hands in a board meeting. It's like, fucking, can we get Simon Cowell?
Yeah, they literally could
Yeah.
have swapped it out for anybody. I mean, and yeah, I could definitely see that. And maybe like a controversy came up last second. You know how careful people are sometimes, and maybe they swapped it out last second after like, oh well, yeah, there are some allegations out there, and we don't want to anger anybody. So maybe that's just
No, of
speculation.
Of course,
but
that leads.
it's just Simon Cowell just didn't make sense.
It leads to the question: who do you think they wanted? Who would have been the best choice?
I mean, producer, investor, Harvey Weinstein, and they were just waiting for that innocent, guilty thing to come back. And then they went to jail, and they're like, well.
Like, if I had to do that scene, I would have. I guess it's also a money thing. They did, but they hired a lot of stars, so I don't know how valid that argument is. But I would have gotten more of smaller cameos, right? And done it as a little montage of them, lots of investors coming up and checking them out and be like, oh, I don't know.
You know what would be funny if they did?
You know, I'd be like, oh, it's Gilbert Gottfried. I want to invest in Mystery Incorporated.
I think that would be very good.
for the Shoudini.
I think that'd be very good because if they picked somebody who is not only like a Hollywood celebrity, but they could be like an actual character and their own person, like Gilbert Gottfried. He's like he's a fucking character, dude.
I mean, the
I'd be
question
awesome
is,
to be
do you
on that.
go with someone who's like widely recognizable, which I mean, mark in the favor of Simon Cowell, or do you go for like a Scooby-Doo deep cut? Like this person was like in this famous episode of Scooby-Doo or something. Like, you know, I don't know.
I think what you would do, here's my treatment of the scene. You would do a bunch of, like, here's Seth Rogen. Guys.
Yeah, I
Mystery
don't-
Machine,
Yeah.
And you do a bunch like that, and the last one is a deep cut, and you use that as the unmasking reveal at the end.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like the idea
see that.
of unmasking reveal at the end being the supposed investor. I don't know that I agree with the idea of having multiple investors come up because I feel like you're just
Unless it's
repeating
Shark
that
Tank.
beat too many times. I think would hurt the scene, and like because it is kind of like a crucial thing to the plot. Like that's the impetus for them to split up. So I don't know if you want to like
Maybe that's why they picked Simon Cowell, because Simon Cowell was so direct and he had to be that.
I mean, yeah, he's
Straight
the
up.
perfect bad guy for that scene. Certainly, it did seem a little out of left field, though.
Yep.
Also, I did some research. Frank Welker is both the OG voice for Scooby Doo and Fred.
Okay, yeah. He was really good.
I don't know why they
that's
didn't
not-
let him do Fred also, but that's
Yeah.
you had him in the movie.
Maybe.
You know, you know what I would have really liked in this movie? I just thought of this, and it would be a great if you were gonna do more Scooby homages. I would have liked them to be like, I don't know, on a TV station or something, and just have the a laugh track go off in the background, and then make like a joke about it. Because that was a part of the old Scooby Doo cartoon, was that there was a fucking laugh track on it.
I mean, this definitely had some self-referential moments that they're like, all right, yeah, we know we've done this before, and I think they should have played on that a little bit more, but no, I don't know. No, I don't think so, because I think this had enough to where it was fine and like you could pick those out, but it didn't control the movie.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a defining part of the movie. If it was too self-referential, then we're like, all right, what is this, Deadpool?
If we consider the audience that this was marketed towards, kids like in that 8 to 12 demographic probably haven't seen original Scooby-Doo. So like if you want to like throw in a lot of references, they aren't going to know who the fucking creeper is. They're not going to understand why the joke about the laugh track is funny. So you can have a few of those, but if you have too many, then the kids are going to be like, I don't get it.
This is it's like when the Garfield fucking movie came out. You're like, kids are like, this isn't something I'd watch. I don't do Garfield. That's a comic strip for 36-year-olds on their cubicle walls.
Yeah, anyone who had
and also a horror franchise now.
Anyone who had seen like the Garfield and Friends animated show by the time that movie came out was well into their 30s.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any like famous animated characters like John Cena. Like, I don't know if you could bring any of those back.
You could bring John Cena back. Sure.
Yeah. Note. So I'm just listing off things that come to my mind about this movie. Quick note: I like the carnival scene. I don't know. It just felt very in for me. I felt like that was the most cohesive scene for me in terms of
Well, it certainly
pacing.
was one of the more
Action.
direct plot advancement scenes.
Yes. That's all I had to say.
I
about
liked
that.
the Blue Falcon interplay. I liked again, adult son always gets a laugh out of me. But I like the fact that Mark Wahlberg was this fucking nebbish, like he looks the part and that's it sort of thing.
Yeah. I think it got a
they
little
could have done
old
more
at the
with
end.
that. Like it was basically that's the joke and we do nothing with it until the very end.
That's what. Yeah.
I think they could have done more with that, like had more moments with that, or like had his, buffoonery be more damaging in spots. I don't know. I felt like it was an underused plot point.
I feel like that was with a bunch of things. There is one joke I remember where they were talking about the original Blue Falcon. Oh, it was there. It was like 92% there, and I I want to go in the writer's room and be like, here, just take this. It'll be all the way there. Because they talk about, the Blue Falcon, he's moved on to a better place. And then then Shaggy's like, oh no, is he dead? He's like, no,
retired
it's
at
Palm
Palm
Springs.
New Florida was coming.
I was like, that was great.
joke.
That was great. But I was like, I think just the tune-up for me would just be like if they did that, but Shaggy didn't say anything. They just let the line sit. But he gives the expression on his face. He's like, and then Blue Falcon's like, moved on to a better place.
Yeah, he's
Palm Springs. And then he goes, Palm
like
Springs.
He sees them. He's like, oh no, he just retired. Like without him having to feed him the line. I did like the reveal though, where they're like, yeah, you're not Blue Falcon. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, no, the crest isn't the right size.
Yeah. Also, one of those scales.
They're feathered.
The feathers. I did like that. That was the
Like
Blue
I said,
Falcon did a lot of things for me.
The first half of this movie, I enjoyed a lot. The second half, it had some high points, but it just felt really uneven and messy.
Yeah, when it turned into like just a MacGuffin race and just trying to find the dog.
And we're
heads
fighting
stuff like that.
Cerberus and Alexander the Great's
They
dog.
didn't do any dog
that's
jokes
true.
with Cerberus. I wanted Fred to throw the Mystery Inc. shield like a frisbee.
That's a
and have the dog
weird
catch
fucking
it.
through line in movies that we've watched recently where main characters have to sacrifice their beloved van. It happened in Onward. It happened in this movie.
Yes.
I noticed that. I'm like, this is a weird fucking through line.
It's happened in. You haven't watched it, but it's happened in Steven Universe.
Damn, Vans.
The van is just. It's a. Remember, Kurt? Remember when we played Advance Wars?
Vaguely.
We put it on the TV. We played a little bit of it. There's a
Yes.
unit, the APC, in there that has no offensive capability. And often I would use that as just a wall. I would just park it in front of a tank and be like, all right, everyone, get the fuck out. They're going to blow up this van while I make my escape.
Yeah.
So, there was that. And, of course, the main through line through all of these movies and everything, Velma is, to my great relief, still hotter than Daphne.
Different strokes.
Yeah,
Making it.
I agree.
I don't know. I feel like Daphne didn't have a lot to do in this
Daphne,
movie. Does anyone else feel
I
that
felt
way?
like
She was the mom.
Fred, Daphne,
She
and
became the
Velma
robot
were
mom.
all pretty underwritten in this movie.
I guess because it wasn't there. Really wasn't.
It was a
their
Scooby
story.
and Shaggy movie, which I think is why I'm kind of okay that they didn't get like original actors. It was like for them. I definitely think maybe they should have gotten somebody better for Shaggy.
For sure.
But I mean, there weren't tons of importance to Fred, Daphne, or Velma's characters, and they really didn't have the spotlight the entire time. It was really the Falcon team, and it was Scooby and
But
Shaggy.
each one had at least one action that they performed that came back in the climax. Which
Yeah, I mean, we got Velma. She
is true.
found out all the information from digging up in the police database. Daphne got them out of the jail cell with the little robot who ended up
helping them.
helping them out later, and then Fred drove them.
Yeah. I mean,
What did Fred do again? He
was.
He didn't set a
Yeah,
trap.
okay,
That's for fucking sure.
Low key, now that you mention it, I didn't even think of it watching it. Biggest problem with the Cerberus fight scene. There was no elaborate trap. That should have been.
well, there was the marbles.
They did the bowling balls, but that was Shaggy and Scooby. The traps are Fred's thing.
Yeah.
That's his thing, man.
Right. They even had the jump. Like, they were all able to get there ahead of or like reasonably ahead of time to the whole thing, I think. Fred should at least set up some, because that's the big fucking, that's where everyone's characters come out, is when they do it, because Shaggy's always Daphne's the distraction, and she always gets hung up in a very dangerous situation while Fred's traps fuck up. Velma is like just trying to like sleuth around for some shit, and then Shaggy and Scooby
They're the
randomly
bait.
find the
They're
guy,
the bait always.
and and of course Shaggy swoozes right in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fred did have the secret to the how to lock the door to the underworld. That's what Fred brought to the party.
Yes,
he
he
grabbed the
Post-it
post-it
note
note
off the wall.
and drove them.
true. But yeah, like the elaborate trap was
Now-
missing. They didn't like. They never even had the elaborate trap. Like when they did like a classic like Mystery Inc. When they were kids with the haunted house, like he threw a fucking axe. Like that's hardly an elaborate Scooby Doo trap.
Yeah, who are you, Conan?
Right.
Conan the Barbarian.
I don't know how much. Yeah, I agree with this. Ties into the action thing also. I don't know. I think they could have used less violence, at least in the fights. They don't. In the end, they don't win the day by just punching the Cerberus dude in the face. They use their wits.
Yeah.
At least somewhat. They find a way to an adventure-y way to resolve the conflict, but there was still a lot of like, I'm gonna just shoot missiles at him.
That was one thing I noticed
like,
with Dynamite. I'm like, there's a lot of missiles being fired in this movie, and I don't know that that's correct.
Maybe that's a Blue Falcon thing. I don't know. Maybe it's.
I've never
Not in the
seen.
spirit.
It's not
like
like Spirit Scooby Doo, but I don't know enough Blue Falcon.
you're right.
stuff.
I don't know enough Blue Falcon stuff, but like looking at
missiles were his thing?
looking at other Hanna-Barbera stuff of that era, like I mean Jetsons isn't a good comparison, but like Birdman, not Harvey Birdman, but like like the cartoon that's based on. Like there isn't like
It's a missile free
fucking
show.
missiles and shit like that.
There's lasers. Like the blue. I like the blue grenade
Yeah,
scene
the
where he
electro
pulls out
grenade,
the.
the like arc grenade.
Yeah. What I forget what the joke was with that, but I remember I laughed at that one.
threw
He
it,
didn't know
and then
where it
it
was. He's like,
landed
"Oh,
in-
my
in the
utility
car.
belt has all these pouches," and he's like, "It's right there."
And then he threw it
It was,
in the cart of the Ferris wheel. It was like it ricocheted off, and they were
They
like,
played hot potato.
Didn't he make like a F
Yeah,
U
so
joke?
far
yeah,
some
F-bomb, the F-bomb.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's keep.
he was
it
like,
PG.
hey, let's keep it PG.
Yeah, some
Which
F-bombs.
That's
this
what I mean.
movie
Like
is
there
rated
were
PG,
some,
yeah.
little self-referential things and stuff like that. I like certain things, but yeah, I like Dynamite. Honestly, I liked his interactions with Brian
good.
were fantastic.
Oh, I like the character. I just
just-
thought the missiles were a little over.
Yeah. I like this certain interactions with him. The lines, the writing for Ken Jeong was great. Good actor for him.
Another
I-
iconic scene during the carnival scene was very in Scooby-Doo and wasn't just people hitting stuff and hitting robots and robots with buzzsaws or whatever. Was Dastardly, they're in the go-karts and the mutt grabs the thing and kind of go gadgets wheels onto it, and then Dick Dastardly has all his little robots get
Yeah.
under like a little
I
caterpillar.
love that. Speaking of the little
was
robots, and this is more towards the beginning of the movie, when they all go to the bowling alley and then they get chased by the robots through the bowling alley, and then they hop behind the counter in the concession stand and
That's
then
classic
turn up to be
Scooby-Doo.
the waiters.
Yeah.
Or that's classic Scooby-Doo. Love that
love
scene.
that.
That's why I think the beginning of it was like
Like I said,
you
yeah.
said, the love letter to Scooby-Doo, and then it kind of transitioned to more new age action-y type movies. But like there's certain things like that were spot on for me.
Although I did not care for the little robots in general, because I looked at them and I saw the way they like had their little baby forms, and like this, they're trying to make this like a Minions
Toys.
style like merchandising
said that.
opportunity.
Richard Dastardly would not make such a machine.
I said that during the movie. I turned to my roommate. I'm like, he's Gru and these are the minions. I'm so mad.
Yeah. Very much in that vein. They're trying to get a slice of that pie. Expect that. I don't even remember what the fuck they were called, but expect that movie in like 2022.
Spin-off movie. Fucking dumb. Oh no. Be so mad. Even though they were a little cute, but they're just vibing. They were just vibing robots, dude. What?
All right, so yeah. Any other?
Again, to recap, overall, good movie, watchable movie. First half, very good. Second half, little uneven. But yeah, if you feel strongly about the emotional connection between a man and his dog, bring some Kleenexes with you to your couch when you go to see this. It's worth the watch if you are a fan of Scooby-Doo. If you're not, you can probably skip it. I'd give it a solid 6.4 out of 10, something like that.
Yep, I'd say if you're a Scooby-Doo fan, worth a watch.
I think if you have enough people around to watch too, if you have like a share an Amazon Prime account, or you have a group of people who are willing to split the, I don't know, $20 is a lot of money.
It is.
Just for a kids movie.
Person. Well, for any movie, it's for one viewing of one movie. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a big ask.
Because usually with those movies, you get something extra. You get like the D box or the what is it? The surround sound bullshit. What do they call that? I'm so mad.
Dolby 5.1 home theater.
Whatever the fucking IMAX. That's what it is. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Like, usually you get something extra
value
with that,
added.
but
although it is interesting, you can purchase this movie for $24.99. So for $5 more, you can own it. So that's an interesting wrinkle.
How many people are probably doing that over renting? Like if they have like a bunch of kids.
If I thought about it, like I looked at it and I'm like, okay, so it's this much to rent it for 48 hours and it's $5 more to buy it. I considered buying it. Although I will say that it'd be nice if you could do like rent with an option to buy. Like rent the movie for the $20, and if you enjoy it, you can pay $5 extra to keep it. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that they should consider.
I agree. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder how many. I wonder how many like families are just like, well, it's $5 more.
I would if I had kids.
Little Jimmy and Timmy are gonna be like asking for it in a week. We're not going to rent it again.
Jimmy.
Let's just buy it straight up.
Like what's $5 really?
I'd love to see those numbers at the end to see how many people rented versus how many people
I'd
bought.
love to see a lot of numbers coming out of this. The unfortunate part about it is there's like no like central nexus. There's no box office mojo of on-demand profits.
It almost have to be like a statement from Paramount or something.
Yeah, you'd have to like. I mean, it's if they're a publicly traded company, you'd have to like look through their earnings report to see. Which I'm not going to pour through 1,000 pages of corporate nonsense to get to.
I already don't do that with the stocks that I own. I just look at the number. Did they do well or did they not?
I get an email from my broker. Oh yeah, there's a shareholder vote on this. They don't care.
Don't care.
All right. So that's going to wrap it up for episode 211 of the Saturn Studs podcast. We'll be back next week with episode 212. Tune into the stream tonight around 8 p.m. Peter and I will be playing Ghostbusters, the video game remastered. It is widely considered to be basically the third movie. So we're excited to play that and not at all discuss anything that may have happened in 2016 related to the Ghostbusters property. So we'll do that. And then the following week, we're possibly going to play Hylix. We'll see how that goes.
Maybe.
We'll be doing something for sure.
Something.
And then week after, so in 2 weeks, we will begin Mass Effect 2. If you haven't seen our Mass Effect 1 playthrough, it is not yet up on YouTube. However, one of the DLCs for Mass Effect 2 is Mass Effect Genesis, which is an interactive comic from Dark Horse, which will take you through the plot and our decisions that we made in our Mass Effect 1 playthrough in a concise introduction. So don't worry if you feel like you're going to be out of the loop. You'll get brought up right up to speed. So looking forward to that. Also look forward to seeing you all on the stream. Check out Day in the Life. Again, that link is going to be in our description. And until next time, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.
Bye-bye.